Happy New Year, everybody! This is Gotcha Reviews. I am Spencer Gotchis, and welcome to my new set. And by set, I mean brand new green screen and ring light that I got for my brother for Christmas. Thank you, Chris. Well, anyway, so this is how I'm going to try to do my videos from now on. Hopefully they have a little more professional kind of look to them, other than me just sitting in a chair in my bedroom. So hopefully this looks a little better. So for this video, I wanted to talk about a whole bunch of stuff. So the end of 2019, I tried to go and see as many movies as I possibly could. So for the last couple weeks, I saw a bunch of movies that I want to talk about, but I didn't want to spread them all out throughout 2020 because there's a bunch of movies in 2020 trying to come out, and I just don't have time. So for this video, I'm just going to cram a bunch of movies together into one video, and I'm just going to talk about them all. So you better be ready, because here they come. First movie I wanted to talk about was Honey Boy. This movie was directed by Alma Harral, and it was written by Shia LaBeouf, and it is a pseudo-biographical movie about his childhood and how he was raised and his relationship with his father. As I said, Shia LaBeouf wrote this movie, and he also played his own dad. If that concept does not get you interested, I don't know if you're gonna like this movie. But for me, I thought this movie was really, really good. The acting was incredible. Shia LaBeouf gives another incredible performance for 2019. Although this movie doesn't do anything that really blew off my socks, if you're interested in Shia LaBeouf and his story, this is a definite watch, and you should definitely check it out once it comes to VOD, because I don't think it's in theaters anymore. But if you find it in theaters, I highly recommend. Although I have to say, it is a highly emotional ride. It doesn't make you feel that good inside, but it is an interesting story, and as I said, it has some really, really good performances in it, so go check out Honey Boy. The next movie I saw following Honey Boy was Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. Now, I was initially really scared to talk about this movie because after the release of it, it seems like Star Wars fans were, again, at each other's throats, and it was it was just a mess surrounding this movie, whether you liked it or didn't like it, and I didn't really feel like throwing my hat into that ring. I didn't want to do it. So I'm just going to give my quick thoughts here, but before I do that, I think it's important to say that I really enjoyed The Last Jedi. I really liked what Rian Johnson was trying to do for Star Wars. It's really important to put that out there because it'll make sense later. So, for The Rise of Skywalker, directed by J.J. Abrams again, I did not like this movie. I thought this movie was kind of a mess. I thought bringing back Palpatine as the main villain was kind of stupid, and I thought they could have, done a better job of maybe finding a different villain or using the villain that they already had in Kylo Ren, who is amazing in this movie. But no, they brought back Palpatine, and I did not like that decision. And there's a lot of things in this movie that sort of make sense. This movie to me was a very hodgepodge of just like, and then this, and then this, and then this. It just doesn't give the viewer time to think and time to really feel the emotion of a closing of a saga of 9 movies spanning over like 50 years or so. So I thought this movie was a mess, and the reason I say it was important for me to bring up that I loved The Last Jedi is that this movie tries its best to right the wrong of what The Last Jedi did, which I think is just absolutely, it's dumb. I get where they're going, and I get that a lot of people didn't like what they did in The Last Jedi, so J.J. Abrams felt like it was his duty to give those people some, right the wrongs, as he says. But to me, I liked the themes that Rian Johnson was bringing in. I feel like Rian Johnson was trying to bring Star Wars into a new era and turn Star Wars into something new, something that we haven't seen before. And I guess a lot of Star Wars fans didn't like that and got scared and hated that movie. So what J.J. Abrams did was fill this movie to the brim with fan service and callbacks to the originals, callbacks to the prequels, which is all fine, but I don't know. For me, I would like to see some Star Wars go somewhere new since it's been a property for so long and not be stuck in the past like it seems to be. Anyway, I did not like this movie. Sorry, Star Wars fans, but those are my thoughts on Rise of Skywalker. Next movie up on the list is The Irishman, directed by Martin Scorsese. So, it's Martin Scorsese making another gangster epic, and it stars Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, and Joe Pesci. Joe Pesci coming out of retirement to do this movie. And when I say epic, I mean that this movie is a 3.5-hour long movie, and good Lord, do you feel it. Now, I want to start off saying things positive about this movie because I think there's a lot to like in this movie, particularly the actors. As I said, Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, and Joe Pesci all bring stellar performances in this movie. Of course, 3 of the best actors of our time, all in one movie. They all do a fantastic job. The cinematography is serviceable. It's all right. And the story is, I thought the story was kind of interesting. But the big problem I have with this movie is the runtime. 3.5 hours. I mean, it feels like Netflix basically went up to Martin Scorsese and said, hey, you can make whatever movie you want, make it as long as you want, just do whatever, we'll throw a check at you, and there you go. And sometimes that works for movie directors, makes them creatively free to do whatever they want. But for this movie in particular, I think it was a disadvantage because Martin Scorsese did not have anybody to tell him, hey, your movie is too goddamn long. God, this movie is long, and I thought this movie was really, really boring, to be honest. And I feel like that there's a good maybe hour and a half that could have been cut out of this movie. It is super slow, super drawn out, and it's only being held together by the really good performances by the actors. Because, as I said, the story, I said, was good, but since this is Martin Scorsese's return to gangster epic, and the one that he did before it was Goodfellas, which is a absolutely stellar film and a stellar story about a fictional character, while this one, The Irishman, is about a real person. The fictional story of a guy being indoctrinated into the mafia life is, I just think, a lot more interesting and a lot faster. All the beats go faster. This one, he just took his time, and it's a lot of people talking, and then it cuts and it goes to another scene and of a lot of people talking, and then we're talking over here, and then we're talking over here for 3.5 hours. I couldn't finish this movie in one sitting. I watched about half of it, and I had to stop because I was bored and wasn't paying attention. And I came back like a week later and finished the last half of this movie, which is, God, just another hour and a half. So it sounds like I'm being really negative on this movie, which I am. But this movie, as I said, was pretty good. If you like Martin Scorsese, if you love these actors, give this movie a chance. You might like it. I've heard a lot of people praise this movie, and it's their movie of the year. For me, this movie was a slow slog of a movie, and I just wish that Martin Scorsese had somebody to tell him to cut things out of his movie. Anyway, so those are my thoughts on The Irishman. Next, I want to talk about Marriage Story by Noah Baumbach, and it stars Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson as a couple that are going through a divorce. Now, this couple is trying to make this divorce as civil as possible since they have a child and they want to make it as easy on him as possible. But as soon as lawyers get involved, it gets a lot more complicated and a lot more emotional. And this movie is incredible. This movie is so good. The drama and the actings, Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson probably give some of the best performances they've ever given. And as I said, the amount of emotion that went into this movie is so good, even though the bottom line message of this movie and the theme of this movie is love. Even though a relationship is falling apart and you don't think it works, the theme of this movie is love. It's called a marriage story about divorce, but the bottom line message is love. Like, that is something really, really special, and you do not want to miss this one. And it's on Netflix, so you have no excuse. Watch A Marriage Story. It is incredible. You will not regret it. And last but certainly not least, I saw A Hidden Life, directed by Terrence Malick. Now, I love Terrence Malick films, especially A Tree of Life, and I really like his style of filmmaking because I don't know what it is about Terrence Malick, whether it's his sweeping, very, very beautiful nature shots in The Tree of Life in this movie, or his use of just natural light throughout the entire film. It's like you're watching a nature documentary, but there's a story along with it. And A Hidden Life is no exception to that formula, and it is a really, really good movie. Now, I think this movie also suffers a little bit from the complaints I had for The Irishman, but not as bad. I think A Hidden Life could have cut about 30 to 40 minutes out of the movie, and I think it would have been just as good. I just feel like there are a lot of shots that kind of give you the same information as other shots in the movie, and they're long, drawn-out shots like what Terrence Malick likes to do, which is fine because it's usually breathtakingly beautiful, but it just kind of leaves you're like, okay, I get it. I understand that the message you're showing me. I get the visual storytelling, and I get what's going on. And I just feel like he kind of sits on these moments just a tad too long, which makes this movie feel a little long. Not that it's bad, it just makes it feel a little long. The performances are awesome. As I said, the cinematography is beautiful, and the message of holding on to your beliefs no matter what is a really good one. So if you want to see a movie that has a good message, good performances, and stellar cinematography, please go see A Hidden Life. Just expect it to feel a little long. The runtime is almost about 3 hours, and you can feel it. But it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad movie. Anyway, so that is my wrap-up of all the movies that I saw right before the end of 2019. I just wanted to get those out there as fast as possible so I can give you guys my top 10 movies of 2019. I've never done this before, so it's going to be really interesting of picking out movies of all 33 movies I saw this year, cutting out the fat, picking out the best movies I think this year had to offer, and ranking them. So I'm really excited to do that, and I am really excited to share that with you guys. I hope you guys like the new look of my channel. So I hope you guys enjoy, and I hope you guys have a stellar beginning of your 2020. I hope your New Year's Eve was so much fun, and I will see you again very shortly, as I said, for my top 10 movies of 2019. Make sure to check it out. Okay, that's it for me. Bye-bye.